Our area's most beautiful properties deserve the finest realtors. Meeks Realty Group. We focus on buying and selling residential and commercial properties throughout the tri-state area. Contact Meeks Realty Group online at meeks.us or call 304-440-1101.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
Hey, folks, good Wednesday morning to you from the Par-Mar Stores studio. Welcome to the show. Ryan Nicholson is our producer today. Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly, hotline 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text 304-935-5008. We do the show from the Par-Mar Store studio. If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. Par-Mar and Game Changer present the annual Par-Mar Shootout on the campus of West Virginia State University. Just a couple of weeks away, February the 5th through the 8th. 4 big days, 8 exciting boys and girls basketball games each day. The first games tip off at 9:30 in the morning. For a complete list of games, visit Par-Mar Stores on Facebook or X. And if there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. Have a Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you as well by Thornhill Auto Group, including Thornhill GM Superstore. If you're looking for a powerful, luxurious, and innovative truck, then come check out the 2024 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew Cab LTZ and High Country today. Find new roads to Thornhill. Click or come by ThornhillGMSuperstore.com or on the Thornhill Motor Mile US 119 in Chapmanville. Coming up on the show, we are loaded up. So we're one day away from the Reds Caravan coming to the Coliseum and Convention Center. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on. I think Jeff Jenkins, possibly Dale Cooper, is going to join us to talk about that. Your chance to hang out with the Reds free of charge at the Coliseum and Convention Center tomorrow evening. So we're going to have Morgan Switzer stopping by. She's a candidate for prosecuting attorney in Kanawha County, as well as Glenn Elliott. Glenn Elliott is the current mayor of the city of Wheeling, but he's also going to be running as a Democrat for U.S. Senate. So we're going to talk to him a little bit later on, plus your calls and texts are welcome. I want to get to a program, though, that's doing some great stuff right now in West Virginia. It's the Read Aloud West Virginia program. Dawn Miller is the executive director of Read Aloud West Virginia, and she joins us now. Dawn, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Dave.
Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
You and I, before the show, were waxing poetically and reminiscing about the days of newspapers because
Indeed.
your background is newspaper. I mean, it's one of the things I'm sure you've done in your life.
Indeed.
Probably done several things, and I remember you from your newspaper days, and you were happy to see that I actually have a copy of a newspaper here.
That's right. Bless you.
I'm the one. I'm the one that has a copy of the
and me
newspaper. I gotta have that newspaper. I'm lost kind of without it. So exactly, what is Read Aloud West Virginia? Talk about the program as a whole.
Oh, thanks, Dave. Read Aloud West Virginia is a homegrown West Virginia organization created right here in Kanawha County about 35 or so years ago that has since spread around the state, and it exists to motivate children to read for fun. So we don't teach anybody to read, but we very much support the work of teachers and parents and people who are teaching their kids to read. And we motivate kids to read for pleasure. And I can tell you more about why that's so important.
Well, tell us. Why is that important?
So when kids read on their own time for fun, they get better at it. They practice the lessons that they're taught in school. They develop that habit. They build vocabulary. They also acquire the background knowledge and vocabulary they need in order to advance. I was at a conference just in November where they were talking about reading comprehension and the thousands of words a child needs to learn every year. And you can't do that many vocabulary lessons. It turns out the way we actually gain vocabulary to be a successful reader is by reading. Mm-hmm. We move from things that become easy to us into harder texts and chase our own curiosity and what we're interested in. Mm-hmm. And once the child learns to decode and make sense, then they read on their own, they take off. They'll do that if the books are magnetic, if you give them books they want, they're interested in, and reading is abundant and fun and celebrated. And that's what we do. We turn reading into fun.
And that's what it's any time with kids, and I mean for adults as well, if you make it fun, they're more likely going to be interested. Don, in the era of modern technology and devices of all sorts. And actually, I was just reading over the weekend an article about parents or caregivers reading to kids and how important that is. And then the kids will, as you said, will kind of take off and just kind of go on their own. There's really not an age that's too young to read to. Is that a fair assessment?
You're exactly right. It doesn't necessarily seem logical to read to a baby, but actually all the talking that you do with your baby, talking, rhyming words, singing, all of that builds vocabulary, listening vocabulary. And then when you read books to children, even before they can completely follow the story themselves, when we read to those children, they're learning words, they're learning their language, they're learning that habit. They are discovering that reading and spending time with books is something that their people do. And there's actually a pediatrician in Cincinnati. His name's Dr. John S. Hutton. He's fascinating. And he's done some interesting functional MRIs, scans of preschoolers while you read to them. And he is beginning to document in brain science, he and others, what parents and grandparents and teachers have said for years, that when the children get to school, they can tell which children have been read to since they were babies. They're better able, they're more ready to pick up reading skills in school. Their brains are prepared for it. And Dr. Hutton and some others are actually documenting that in brain science.
I mean, it is amazing that, again, in this era of devices and so on and so forth, and parents sometimes, I'm not a parent, let me just throw that out there, but sometimes they put a device in the kids' hands, but there's nothing like old-fashioned reading, and maybe they're reading on the devices, I mean, as long as they're reading, I guess. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by your local Brightways agents, John and Sherry Mays of Brightway, the Mays Agency of Tays Valley. Homeowners insurance can be complicated. Get the coverage you need locally with John and Sherry. 304-814-2509 or visit brightwaymays.com. So you got some kind of a really cool promotion that you're doing right now. Tell us about this promotion. Tell us what you're doing.
Thank you. So we have created this little baby shirt. It's got the snaps on the bottom. Okay. It's called a onesie, and we're calling it the Book Baby shirt, and it's got the birth year on it, 2024. And we're hoping that parents, grandparents, friends, relatives will see this as a good gift item. You can order it online, and for every one we sell, Read Aloud gets $5. And what I love about it is that it puts that message, a gentle reminder to read to the baby. It puts the message right on the baby's belly. So it's like a T-shirt for the baby, except it's the kind that snaps on the bottom, sometimes called a onesie. And we launched it just this week, and we're hoping people give it away as a present, use it to celebrate the new reader in the family, and help Read Aloud with its literacy programs around the state at the same time.
And where can you get these programs? These onesies, I should say, not programs.
If you go to our website, readaloudwv.org, there's a big picture of this shirt, and you click on that, and it'll take you to the site where you can order it online. It ships directly to you.
What kind of buy-in with these sorts of programs do you find with our schools in West Virginia? Great
question. Very good buy-in from many, many schools. We have a strong presence in about 30 counties right now, and then an additional presence in 46 counties. Not all schools choose to work with Read Aloud. They might have their own volunteer readers lined up, and they don't really feel a need to. The ones who do work with us see great benefits. We put volunteer readers in their classrooms, work with them to recruit their parents, their business partners, and then that qualifies them to ask us for book distributions. And having books in your home, owning books of your own is very motivating. Choosing your books, what you want to read, is motivating. And in some of our projects, our most involved projects, we can actually trace some reading score improvement. Now, I can't show that in every school we're in, but in some of our very involved book distribution programs, we can show how we're helping to prevent summer learning loss.
It's good stuff you're doing. I mean,
Thank
it
you.
really, really is. I'm a big, but people listen to the show every day and they think there's no way this guy reads anything. I mean, but no. I mean, I've been a reader since I was a kid. I wasn't the kid that necessarily sat down and read the classics all the time. But you give me, something sports related or even political as a kid. It was like the Alex P. Keaton of. You'll get that reference, I'm sure. But I mean, at least as a teacher told me one time, at least they're reading. They're reading something. So give us the information where people can learn more about the program, about what you've got going on, your promotions, good stuff. Tell us about it.
Great, thank you. So the website is readaloudwv.org, and that's where you can find the onesie. It's $24.99. It will ship directly to you. And if a school wants to sign up, you can also find sign-up information there. You can reach us by phone at 304-345-5212. And I don't know if it's worth mentioning, we still have NIP credits left. If people want a tax credit and they want to make a donation, we still have those. You can call that number, 304-345-5212, and we can set you up.
All right. Well, Dawn, I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be here. Sounds like a very, very worthwhile program. I'm all about it. Dawn Miller is the Executive Director of Read Aloud West Virginia. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Dave.
I appreciate you. It's 9:18. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you part by Husson's Pizza. This month at your favorite Husson's. Get a large 18-inch pepperoni pizza and an order of appetizer meatballs, only $24.99. Dine-in, delivery, or pickup. Visit HussonsPizza.com. Back after this in the voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Are you a physical therapy assistant and looking for an opportunity in orthopedics, wellness, and athletic care? If so, Generations Physical Therapy is offering flexible work hours and an upbeat atmosphere. With 7 convenient locations, Generations may have a job designed for you. Visit generationspt.com.
Thrive with 5 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Poca Valley Bank. Poca Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 5%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by a Poca Valley Bank location today or call 844-782-2651. Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield. Subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Poca Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
Nearly every day, there is a company announcing new jobs in West Virginia. Thanks to the leadership of State Senator Eric Nelson, West Virginia's economy is growing and our future looks bright. Senator Eric Nelson has been part of the team advancing important pro-growth policies, and because Senator Eric Nelson has helped control government spending, West Virginians are receiving the biggest tax cut in our state's history. Vote for more jobs. Vote for lower taxes. Vote for State Senator Eric Nelson. Paid for by the committee to elect Eric Nelson.
Are you looking for a powerful, luxurious, and innovative truck? Hey, it's Sydney, inviting you to find new roads with Thornhill and check out the new 2024 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 Crew Cab LTZ and High Country at Thornhill GM Superstore on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Right now, you can get 1.9% APR for well-qualified buyers or $5,000 total value when you trade in an eligible vehicle. It's an opportunity to save big on the new Chevy truck that'll haul the winter blues away. Find new roads to Thornhill GM Superstore. Click or come by at thornhillgmsuperstore.com or on the road to Total Savings, US 119 Chapmanville. All offers through GM Financial. See Thornhill for all details.
It is 9:20. The impact of Special Olympics extends far beyond the athletes themselves. Volunteers and supporters, touched by the unwavering determination of these extraordinary individuals, find immeasurable fulfillment in their involvement. The inclusive approach embraced by Special Olympics fosters an environment where everyone plays a vital role. West Virginia Enriched, in collaboration with Huntington, invites you to witness the transformative power of Special Olympics. See a video highlighting the Special Olympics at facebook.com/580WCHS. Texas, speaking of reading, Republicans are so out of touch with reality that they think young people are going to libraries and museums to look at obscene material. They really think young people are looking at nude people in Renaissance paintings at National Geographic magazines and becoming corrupted. Do these Republicans know about the internet and how young people have easy access to it? The whole lot of them are short-sighted, says a texter. This is, as we speak, there is a public hearing. Actually, it was supposed to start at 8:30 this morning. I'm going to try to get Jeff to talk about that a little bit later on when he joins us to talk about the Reds Caravan. There was a public meeting going on at the Capitol around this so-called library obscenity bill. And I got my opinions on that. I'm going to breathe in deeply here and move on, but I'm going to talk to Jeff about that coming up a little bit later on. Text says, before you read to your kids, you better ask the Republican legislature what's permitted. They are bent on thought and viewpoint control. They want to tell you what your kids can read. Get this, Republicans. I know teens that have read Toni Morrison's Beloved. They still love reading and want more banned books. They will never be Republican because they don't tolerate hate and don't want to be with a group that doesn't want them, according to a texter. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Bridge Valley. Are you interested in improving your company's IT workforce? Well, did you know that Bridge Valley offers custom-tailored IT training to bridge the skills gap? At Bridge Valley, you can train for little or no cost with a 50-50 salary match. Bridge Valley can also supply skilled graduates and apprenticeships for your company. Visit bridgevalley.edu/apprenticeships for more information. Ryan Nicholson is our producer today. Next guest, he's been the mayor of the city of Wheeling. Now he wants to be the next U.S. Senator from West Virginia, spot currently held by Senator Joe Manchin, who's opting not to seek re-election. Talking about Mayor Glenn Elliott, and he joins us now. Mayor, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Good morning, Dave. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for being here. Before we get to your run for Senate, for those who may not know about you, give us the bio on Glenn Elliott, not the political figure, we'll get to that later, but the person, Glenn Elliott. Who are you?
Well, I get that question a lot. Born and raised in Wheeling. Graduated high school in 1990 and went to college in Philadelphia. My first job out of college was actually working for Senator Byrd in his D.C. office as a legislative assistant. I worked for him for 5 years, went to law school, did the big law firm thing for about 7 years. I kind of got burnt out, moved back home to Wheeling in 2008 and have been here ever since. I bought an old building in downtown that was vacant at the time, a 6-story building that I got for less than what most single-family homes go for, because it needed a lot of work. I spent a lot of time working on that, moved into it, got the first floor rented out, and, then got married. Have a beautiful son, a beautiful wife. I've been married for the last 7.5 years here in Wheeling. And, I'm term limited now, so my final term is this year. My term expires on June 30th.
Tell us about your time as mayor of Wheeling. What were some accomplishments that you were particularly proud of? I know Wheeling, like a lot of cities in West Virginia, has its struggles, but a lot of positive things going on there. So just talk about your time as mayor of Wheeling.
Thanks. Yeah, it is. When I took office, Wheeling was starting to show a little bit of signs of progress. Our downtown was always sort of our crown jewel, really, for a 60 or 70 mile radius up here in the Upper High Valley. Folks would come to downtown Wheeling on the weekends and evenings. And then, by the 1990s, early 2000s, that had kind of mostly dried up. The retail had moved away to regional malls. A lot of these storefronts had shut down. Our downtown was basically just a couple of banks and law firms, and it really lost its vibrancy. So I kind of ran on an idea to really reinvigorate our downtown. I also made parks and playgrounds a priority. Our playgrounds across the city had been ignored for years. We made that something that we thought was very important. Really pushed just, thinking about new ways to make Wheeling look to the future. There's been more public and private investment in and around our downtown in the last 8 years than in the prior 30 or almost 40, I think. For the first time, you're seeing the private sector really take note of what's going on. We were working with the state also on a major streetscape project to completely reshape the way downtown looks and feels and works for people. And, I don't know if you've been here lately or, if you have reference points, but in the last couple of years, you're starting to see a lot of this progress really take root.
Talking with the mayor of Wheeling, Glenn Elliott, who is also a candidate for U.S. Senate here on the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. The Dave Allen Show brought to you part by General Hardware and Lumber of Winfield. Get with them for a quote before you start your project. If you're tired of sorting through a bunch of crooked boards, get with General Hardware and Lumber. They have the straight quality lumber you're looking for with great pricing and the service you expect from a locally owned business. General Hardware and Lumber of Winfield. All right, Mayor, so with all that being said, why do you now want to go to Washington?
Yeah, I get that question a lot too, Dave. This is probably the most divided the country's been in my lifetime. I was born, I guess, right before Watergate, but it just seems like we're getting farther and farther apart from each other in the way we don't even really listen to the other side. The experience I have and the temperament I bring to the table, I think, would be a pretty good fit. I have been mayor for nearly 8 years. We don't have the luxury of, sitting back and just playing politics and, trying to, play games with the other side. We got to get the streets fixed. We got to get the roads plowed. We got to, get the sewer lines laid. You have to get stuff done when you're mayor. I've been able to work in Wheeling here with Republicans and Democrats and independents to get a lot of things done. I'm not someone who is heavily ideological. I certainly have my core beliefs, But at the end of the day, you have to be able to get stuff done. I'm not someone who always lets the perfect be the enemy of the good. We've made some compromises to get things sort of over the goalposts, and that's something I think I bring to the table. I also have experience, in the Senate, working for Senator Byrd back when the Senate. Folks, it's hard to remember this now, but in 1999 was the last year the federal government actually balanced the budget. I was working in Senator Byrd's office and saw the way things worked, saw the way he went about his job, he worked with people from across the ideological spectrum. He's someone who was fiercely independent, but also, a proud Democrat in the history of the tradition or whatever. But he wasn't one who cowed down to President Clinton at the time. He was actually very tough on President Clinton and, took his job very, very seriously. I think I can bring that temperament to the table. I know West Virginians are frustrated with Washington right now. But, I certainly think that I have a record of being able to work across ideological lines and also really just be able to get stuff done and listen to people. I forget what show was on last week. People asked me, if I've learned things as mayor, and the answer is yes. I went to this office thinking I had all the answers, and then, as you experience things, in reality changes your perception of what the actual problem is. You have to be willing to, let go of those things you sort of carried into office and, and learn on the go. So we've dealt with some issues here, that I thought I had the answers, and we've learned and we've adjusted, and I've been able to really to push the needle forward here in Wheeling. And I certainly think, if you give me the opportunity, if voters give me the opportunity to represent West Virginia in Washington, I'll do everything I can to break through some of the partisan nonsense we're seeing right now and bring some common sense into the equation.
Talking again with the mayor of Wheeling, Glenn Elliott, who's a candidate for U.S. Senate. Mayor, I'm going to state the obvious here. As you know, West Virginia is a deeply red state. This is a state that voted overwhelmingly for Donald Trump in both 2016 and 2020. Nothing to indicate that's not going to be the case again. In such a red state, how do you go about convincing other voters to pull that lever, push that button for Glenn Elliott? Because I would think that you're going to have somewhat of a buy-in from at least some Republicans or some independents in order to win. How do you do that?
Well, there's no doubt. You don't have to be a highly paid pollster to realize that the Democratic brand in the state of West Virginia is at a low point. We can get into reasons as to why that is the case, but at the end of the day, we have to break through. Democrats up and down the ballot have to kind of regain the voters' trust. We've let the other side define us, as obsessed with these a couple issues on the far left of the spectrum, and we forgot about what Democrats actually brought to the equation. Democrats brought us Social Security. They brought us Medicare. They brought us affordable health care. They brought us unions' ability to collectively bargain. Democrats have a really proud history, but they've let the other side define them in a way that really doesn't, reflect the entirety of the party and what it stands for. At the end of the day, Democrats need to be for the underdog. And we have to talk to people. We have to meet them in their place and talk to people. And I'm going to do everything I can. I will visit all 55 counties. I think if people actually get to listen to me and talk to me, they'll realize I'm not someone running to be, an ideological, left-wing person. I'm someone who is a pragmatic Democrat who knows how to get things done. I've worked with Republicans my entire life, especially the last 8 years as mayor. And look, but it's going to be a challenge. I'm not suggesting it is easy, but I think my experience as mayor is one that I'm definitely going to showcase and highlight. And I think, this is the time. Mayors are like the one group of elected officials who don't have the luxury of getting into these political battles because you have to just get stuff done someday. At the end of the day, if you don't deliver results, you can't even go to the grocery store in your hometown because someone's going to be on you. So you have to get stuff done. I know how to get stuff done, and I'll do everything I can to get that message out. Recognizing it's going to be a challenge, and I'm probably going to meet a lot of folks who are very skeptical when they see a D by my name.
Well, and what happens, and I've talked about this on the show a lot, Mayor, and I'm sure that you've heard this before, is that politics used to be local. That's what they used to say, all politics are local. Well, now we've kind of gone to the opposite direction, where all politics is national. And I have used this example, and I'm not picking on the people of Wetzel County. It's just because I like the way Wetzel sounds. I've said this on the air before. If you could run for assessor in Wetzel County, somebody is going to try to tie you to Trump or try to tie you to Biden, Pelosi, Schumer, so on and so forth. Your opponents and others in the general, whether you're going to face off against Governor Justice or Congressman Mooney, they are going to say just that, Mayor. A vote for Elliot is a vote for Biden or Kamala Harris or fill in name here. So I'm presuming you are prepared for that.
Well, I am prepared, but just to be frank, I have a primary to worry about before I worry about a general election. And, of course, I'm going to worry about that primary first and foremost. But, I've gone back and watched, while preparing for this run, I went back and I watched all the prior debates of, a statewide office in West Virginia going back into 15, 20 years. And, look, even when Senator Manchin ran, I think it was in the 2018 debate, I think the word Hillary Clinton was mentioned 38 times in that debate or something. So, yes, I know that's good. I'm going to be called this. I'm going to be called that. If I do, assuming I make it to the general election, I will be labeled all these things. But for far too long, Democrats have let the other side label us, and we haven't really fought back. Look, we stand for the underdog. We stand for a lot of things that are important to West Virginians. What's more important we're one of the oldest states in the country. What's more important to people than Social Security and Medicare? And if we don't get the budget under some control in Washington, those programs are not going to be sustainable at current benefit levels. We have to get through this. Like, these things matter to West Virginians. I recognize they're going to try to label me as this or that or whatever. But at the end of the day, if we can bring the issues back to the conversation back to the issues that really do matter in people's hearts and souls and pocketbooks, I think Democrats would be wise to kind of not let Republicans kind of drag them into these fights on their turf. They need to talk about issues on their own turf, and there's so many different ways the Democratic Party has made the lives of people in West Virginia better. It's just time for us to actually tell that story and not be sort of labeled otherwise.
Mayor Glenn Elliott of Wheeling, candidate for U.S. Senate, and I do apologize. I forgot, you do have a primary opponent, so you're going to be focused on that before you focus on a battle with either Jim Justice or Alex Moody, more than likely. Where can people learn more about your campaign?
Then go to my website. It's www.elliot4wv.com. 2 L's and 2 T's in Elliot. So, but I think either one will still get there. But, yeah, go there. I'm still building out the website, but it's got a lot of background information on me. There'll be more information coming, and I'm looking forward to a very spirited campaign. Spreading my story across all 55 counties, and it's going to be interesting. All
right, Mayor, we'll have you on again soon. I appreciate you being here. Best of luck in the campaign. We'll talk soon. Thanks a lot.
Dave, thank you very much. Take care.
Mayor Glenn Elliott of the city of Wheeling. Again, he is a candidate for U.S. Senate. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you part by Pinnacle Consultants. We spend 90% of our time indoors, and our health risk for air pollution can be greater indoors than out. Pinnacle Consultants is the only accredited commercial lab in the state for asbestos and mold. Visit pinnaclecorp.net because what you don't know can hurt you. Getting back to the library stuff that, again, there was a public meeting held. I'm going to presume that is over now. We're going to update with Jeff on that a little bit later on. It was scheduled for 8:30 this morning at the Capitol. Text says those who have a problem with trying to keep pornographic books with illustrations out of school libraries, not public libraries, not bookstores, not online, that tells you all we need to know about you. You are a pedophile. There was a time when we all agreed on leaving kids alone. Why are you leftist loons so obsessed with sexualizing children? We used to call that being a predator. Text says, I'm sure the mayor can get things done like ban firearms. Text to the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, a service of Fruth Pharmacy. Find the perfect over-the-counter hearing aid at Fruth's with NuvoMed hearing aids. Plus, Fruth makes it easier than ever to transfer your prescription services to them. Fruth is your hometown family pharmacy. And our phone calls to the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, a service of Biggly Piggly Wiggly. When shopping at your Biggly Piggly Wiggly, be sure to join their loyalty program. You can save big at the gas pumps and throughout the store with their electronic coupons and free gifts on Fridays just for stopping by. From farm to table, Biggly Piggly Wiggly, the best kept secret in Charleston. Let me get this in here, and then we will kind of switch gears and bring in Morgan Switzer, who's a candidate for prosecuting attorney in Kanawha County. Our sister station, V100, it's Wednesday, so you know what that means. We're going to be at the Red Carpet Lounge every Wednesday with V100. Jenny Murray, Matt Guitar, Murphy will be there pumping out the tunes as well. Working Women's Wednesday, we start at 5 o'clock today. Lots of great food and drink specials, prizes, and more. V100 presents Working Women's Wednesday every Wednesday at 5 at the Red Carpet Lounge in Charleston. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Fruth Pharmacy text 304-935-5008. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses care for your family.
Here's how it works at Dunbar Furniture. The Moore family welcomes you, directs you to the area you're interested in, and you won't be bothered by pushy salespeople. Living room, dining room, bedroom furniture, mattresses, or the FlexSteel area. Largest selection of FlexSteel sofas, chairs, and recliners in the area. And the lowest prices, too. Give yourself plenty of browsing time. Dunbar Furniture and FlexSteel. Deal with home folks. Visit them on Facebook.
Hello, I am Judge Stephanie Abraham, and I am running for Circuit Court here in Kanawha County.
Judge Stephanie Abraham was appointed to the Circuit Court by Governor Jim Justice. Judge Stephanie Abraham owned and managed her own law firm and was an attorney for the Department of Education and General Counsel for the State Board of Education. Judge Stephanie Abraham is a fair and balanced but tough judge who will always follow the Constitution to protect liberty and achieve justice for all.
I am Judge Stephanie Abraham. I appreciate your vote for Kanawha County Circuit Court.
Paid for by the committee to elect Judge Stephanie Abraham.
Bigley Piggly Wiggly on Spring Street has served 3 generations of shoppers since 1955 as the largest locally owned independent grocery store in the area. The Joseph family owners grew up here, so you know they're invested in the community. They provide the biggest variety of choice meats, the freshest produce, an in-house deli bakery, great wine selection, and more of your favorite brands. Every purchase gives you gasoline points so you can save at our pumps. Order online for pickup at BigleyPigglyWiggly.com. Bigley Piggly Wiggly on Spring Street. No one beats the pig.
Ready for a different banking experience? Become a member at Members Choice West Virginia Federal Credit Union and learn what it means to be a part of the credit union movement.
MCWV is a not-for-profit organization with a mission to provide quality financial products and services, low loan rates and terms, and accounts to fit your unique needs.
As a member, you're also an owner of the credit union with voting rights, dividends, and are a part of the support given to our community.
Become a member today at 201 Ohio Avenue in Charleston or online at memberschoicewv.com. Restrictions may apply.
Member of the NCUA.
22 minutes away from 10. The Dave Allen Show and 580 Live is brought to you by Meeks Realty Group, where trust and efficiency are the cornerstones of their service. Meeks offers years of experience in both residential and commercial real estate with results that will exceed your expectations. At Meeks, it's about more than agreements. Your real estate transactions are part of your dreams and goals. When you get with Meeks, you're not just getting the real estate expertise that they have, you're getting a partner you can rely on for a lifetime of successful investments. Call 304-440-1101 or visit meeks.us. We'll get to Morgan Switzer here in a couple of moments. Text says, funny how we're still dealing with government overreach in freedom of expression. Excuse me, sir, seeing as how the VP is such a VIP, shouldn't we keep the PC on the QT? Because if it leaks to the VC, he could end up MIA, and then we'd all be put on KP. All right. Somebody spent a whole lot of time on that one. Text says, Dave, the Republicans want to ban books from libraries, but it's okay for a man running for president to try to insert himself as a dictator, and that's now a sex predator. Family values, says a texter. Text says, Dave, talking about reading, when I was in high school, my mom got Reader's Digest condensed books. Thank goodness they turned a 600-page novel into a 40-page short story, just enough to get an A on a book report, says a texter. Ryan Nicholson is our producer today. Bigley Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text 304-935-5008. Candidate for prosecuting attorney in Kanawha County, Morgan Switzer is with us. How are you?
I'm good, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. I'm happy to be back.
Give us the bio of Morgan Switzer.
So right now, I actually work for Governor Jim Justice. I work for the Department of Homeland Security for a year, and I was a prosecutor for 3 years. I did a brief stint in family law. I still love it, but I got called to be a prosecutor and was doing that and want to go back.
Well, I was going to add, that's going to be my next question, is why do you want to be a prosecutor?
You know, I think some people were just lucky enough to know what they were born to do. I was one of those people. I decided back in high school that I wanted to do that. Had interned since late teenage years. I was an intern at the Kanawha County Prosecutor's Office. And I actually went to law school to be a prosecutor. But not only a prosecutor, a Kanawha County prosecutor. So, you know, to me it feels like working to go home, running to go home. That's where I want to be.
But what is it, though, about being a prosecutor that appealed to you at even a young age?
You know, it's going to sound kind of cheesy, but helping people is the reason that I do it. You know, magistrate court is a lot of times where criminals start their criminal career, And a lot of people kind of look down on magistrate court. I spent so much time in magistrate court because I loved it. That's where you see your domestic crimes, your animal cruelty crimes for the most part, your petty thefts. And if you have instincts, if you're really paying attention, that's where you see people's red flags. And, I'll mention pretty briefly, proactive prosecution is possible. A lot of times prosecutors will get a file and we're seeing the bad things after they happen, but it's possible to proactively prosecute crimes, and specifically domestic violence crimes.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times if you read a file, you see a reoccurring name, your red flag should be up and we can meaningfully interfere.
The most obvious statement in the world, I guess, is what I'm about to say. It's that drugs are the biggest problems in all facets of life within the criminal justice system. If elected, what do you plan to do as prosecuting attorney?
As simple as it sounds, pay attention. If you pay attention to the types of crimes that you're getting, you start to see the same players. You start to see the same names. And again, you have to be aggressive. You have to be willing to be proactive about it, and really kind of get your feet on the ground and do the work that can't be done at a computer 9 to 5. You have to really get involved. And that's something that I learned. Being a prosecutor isn't just getting a file and taking it to court. It's paying attention to who the players are, paying attention to names, connections, really using the law in your favor, using the facts in your favor, and really being proactive about it. That word is really important to me during this election. Proactive prosecution is possible.
The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by your hometown baseball team, the Charleston Dirty Birds. Maybe wintertime, but we're always thinking about baseball over at the ballpark. 2024 Dirty Birds schedule is posted at dirtybirdsbaseball.com. Visit their website for ticket information, promotions, team merchandise, and more. Your hometown baseball team is the Charleston Dirty Birds. I was reading, Morgan, some of your statements online, and you said, your words, that you don't think domestic violence and animal cruelty cases are being prosecuted well, efficiently, and effectively. What makes you say that?
Well, I'll tell you. So there is a theory of prosecution, for lack of a better way to explain it, called evidence-based prosecution. A lot of people refer to that as victimless prosecution, which is sort of true, but not really. So that is in reference to domestic violence. A lot of time, domestic violence prosecution is not victim-friendly. So, we're asking somebody to testify against somebody that they love, and that can be really difficult. So as a prosecutor, you have to be able to effectively communicate with the victims in a way that doesn't make them feel like they're on the defensive or they feel like they're in trouble. So, using evidence-based prosecution and not so heavily rely on the victim can more effectively prosecute crimes of domestic violence. Just because a victim doesn't show up to court, what does that mean? Does that mean you outright dismiss the case? Or does that mean, hey, my red flag should go up? Let's go try to find this person and make sure that they're not being threatened or coerced not to appear at court, which happens a lot more often than you think. When it comes to animal cruelty crimes, the people that torture and abuse animals oftentimes go on to commit really heinous offenses. Mm-hmm. So that starts in magistrate court a lot of the time. And if you're really paying attention to the names of the people that come across your desk and the types of cases that come across your desk, you can interfere and you can stop that person from, escalating and committing really heinous offenses.
You also said in a social media post that you are the leader that Kanawha County needs. What makes you say that?
I have a couple things that I'm really focused on. And of course, one of them is to proactively prosecute cases. But another thing is to unify the office and to open the lines of communication with law enforcement. That office is not unified right now. That's just the truth. And being able to go into an office that's broken and not unified and make people excited to do the job again, that's the first thing that you have to do, in my opinion. You have to get the people there to be excited about what they do. And as a leader of an office or a boss in any office, it's not too much to ask that your employees feel appreciated and important. We spend more time in the office than we do at home. So somebody that's a leader in that office should make people feel like their lives are meaningful, that their job is meaningful. And I think it starts there. Then really opening the lines of communication with law enforcement. If prosecutors are not on call 24/7, especially the elected prosecutor, you're not effectively serving the community. And I think that's, going into a system that's clearly broken is going to be the biggest challenge. But also I'm really excited about it because I know that I'm passionate enough and aggressive enough to do it.
And Morgan, I've seen you out and about at several different events around the valley over the last couple of months. When you're out like that, what do you hear from people, and what are they saying to you that they want in a prosecutor in Kanawha County?
People are tired of crime here. That is the message that I'm getting everywhere I go. You know, we need somebody in that office that's aggressive, that's strong, and that can make Kanawha County feel safe again. I've heard that everywhere I go, and that's something that I hope to do. I want to make you feel like you can rely on your prosecutor. A lot of people don't even know who the prosecutor is. That's extremely important. You know, when's the last time, think about it, when's the last time you've seen a prosecutor at a community meeting? When's the last time your prosecutor made themselves available to take your questions or concerns? You know, people don't know that there is a prosecutor on call 24/7 in Kanawha County. When I worked there, that's how it was. I'm not sure how it is anymore. You can always walk in your prosecutor's office and talk, and you should be able to talk to your elected officials, you know, and talk about what the concerns are. So crime is too high here. Crime rates are too high. Prosecutions are not taking place the way they should. Trials are not happening fast enough. Cases are sitting for years, and I am not being over dramatic there. Cases are sitting for years. What happens when a case sits for years? Well, memories fade. Evidence fades. The case is not as strong as it once was. And it's really important to take the job seriously and to make people feel safe again.
Where can people learn more about your campaign?
Yeah, it's www.morganswitzer.com. I'm also really active on Facebook, and you can visit Switzer for Prosecutor. And I recently took up TikTok. It's sort of embarrassing because I don't like to record myself, but I love it. So you can go to the TikTok, Switzer for Prosecutor, Instagram, Switzer for Prosecutor, and Facebook, Switzer for Prosecutor.
Okay, as somebody who I have seen TikToks from time to time, somebody will send me one. I'm not on TikTok myself. My face is better on radio than it is on video.
No.
But what? How does one campaign on TikTok? I mean, just tell me about it.
So I'm just learning, honestly. But I think you just talk.
Go get a 12-year-old and tell them how, they can explain to you how to do
exactly.
it. Okay.
Right. Yeah, I just talk and record. Okay. And I'm just really honest. And, you know, I think that it's really important for people to not only see my picture online and read my post, but to see me talking about what I love to do.
Give me 30 seconds. Why should somebody vote for Morgan Switzer, Prosecuting Attorney?
I am the only choice in the Republican Party. I am the one that has no allegiance to any powerful officials. I do not have, you know, lawyers in the community or powerful families in the community bankrolling my campaign. I am somebody that will go into the office and do what is right all the time. I'm going to make you feel safe again. That's why you should elect me.
All right. Morgan, I appreciate you being here. We'll talk soon. Thanks a lot. Best of luck in the campaign.
Thank you so much.
Morgan Switzer, again, a candidate for prosecuting attorney here in Kanawha County. 11 minutes away from 10. We're back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses have been creating jobs in West Virginia since 1997.
Unsure you're ready for retirement? That's understandable. After all, you only retire once. Make the smart choice and call 4th Avenue Financial. If it deals with retirement planning, you can be confident they have the experience you need. Retire right with 4th Avenue Financial. Go to 4thavenuefinancial.com or call 304-746-7977 to book your free introductory meeting today.
Securities offered through JW Co Financial Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through JW Co Advisors Incorporated, JW Co Financial, JW Co Advisors, and 4th Avenue Financial are unaffiliated entities.
West Virginia's top high school basketball talent will come together February the 5th through the 8th on the campus of West Virginia State University as Game Changer and Parmar stores present the Parmar Shootout. The shootout has been extended to 4 full days this year. Come see the top boys and girls teams in the state battle it out, 32 games in all. The first games tip off at 9:30 each morning. Game Changer and Parmar stores present the Parmar Shootout on the campus of West Virginia State University February 5th through the 8th. For a complete list of games, visit Parmar stores on Facebook and X. If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Kick off the new year with some amazing new gear, like a truck driving scholarship, limo services, a fireplace, full interior and exterior vehicle detailing, a huge fireworks package, gift certificates, and even a fire truck. Everything is 60 to 70% off. Right now, you can snag amazing products at jaw-dropping discounts. Visit wvbargains.com and click on Charleston to see the selection. But hurry, it's first come, first serve, and all other offers are off the table Friday at 5 p.m. Visit wvbargains.com today.
It is 9:51, the Dave Allen Show, and 580 Live brought to you by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. If you're injured, visit forthepeople.com. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text 304-935-5008. Let's knock out a couple texts here and we'll go talk a little baseball. Text says, I guess the classic art of nude people are considered pornographic in these current times. I suppose these religious nuts get squeamish by Michelangelo's nude sculpture of the biblical figure David. By the way, there's no pornography in school libraries. Pornography is on the internet, which is easily accessible to young people. Text says, so some people blame Trump for January 6th. We'll take a look. Well, okay, that text for some reason just disappeared because the person sent me another text while I was reading that one. Text says, let me try it again. So some people blame Trump for January 6th. We'll take a look at what Biden allows to come into our country by refusing to shut down the border. This terrorist issued a threat a few days ago. No one knew who he was at the time, but it's been identified. I want someone to answer this. Why is this administration determined to ensure that the border is not blocked off at all, even suing Texas for protecting itself because this anti-American bunch refuses to, all because they want 10 million new voters? They are traitors. You Trump haters, says the texter, need to get your facts straight before you run your trap spewing lies. He was asked by Sean Hannity at the town hall, you're not going to be a dictator, are you? Trump's answer, no, other than day one. We're closing the border and we're drilling. After that, I'm not a dictator. He did not say from day one, try again, says a texter. Quick news note, we have a new school board member in Kanawha County. She's the wife of the guy who just resigned. Her name is Kate White. She replaces her husband, Ryan, who resigned to run for a spot on the state's Intermediate Court of Appeals. 16 people, I understand, applied. The board chose her. She'll serve as a board member through the 1st of July. Then whomever is elected will take that spot. Of course, she can still run for that. Well, there's actually a story posted about that at WCHS Network.com. I'm bringing Jeff Jenkins from the newsroom. Jeff, good morning. How are you?
Hey, Dave. Doing well. How you doing?
We're going to talk a little baseball here in just a couple moments. But before we do that, Hobby's back at the Capitol at 10:06 with Talkline from the AARP broadcast. That Brad has a cover story at WVMetroNews.com on this. A public hearing at 8:30 this morning on House Bill 4654, which has gotten a lot of chatter here on the text line this morning. That bill could open public and school libraries to felony charges for displaying so-called obscene material. What happened during the hearing last hour?
Well, it's a hearing that lasted about an hour, and there were a lot of speakers. There's speakers on both sides. There are more speakers against it than in favor of it. And, you know, what the bill does is it removes public libraries, school libraries, museums from the exemption list. So there in code, there are certain things that are exempt from showing certain type of materials. And Brandon Steele, who's introduced this bill before, but it's never really gotten on the agenda until this year, says that he's been asked by people in his district who say that people are taking advantage of the exemption. You know, they're putting things that minors are seeing, young people are seeing that they shouldn't be seeing. I mean, this is according to him. That some may consider obscene things. And so it's time to remove these who are getting a free pass on showing these things, remove them from the exemption list. And so they would be liable if some things are found to be in violation.
So you're saying that at the Capitol during the public hearing, there were more people that spoke against it than for it?
Yeah, against the bill, which is usually the case. At public hearings.
Well, and I know that the libraries have been real involved in
this. They're concerned about liability insurance.
Sure, yeah, I mean, absolutely.
That's one of the things they're concerned about.
Yeah, I mean, I completely understand that. We'll get into that a little bit later on. All right, let's talk a little baseball. As I said, Hobby's going to be at the Capitol 10:06. We got the Reds Caravan coming to town tomorrow. Tomorrow evening. Talk about it.
5:30 to 7:30. It's in the same place it was last year. And our listeners, of course, we are the Red Station and have been for 50 years, maybe minus a few years in or there. But, this is the place where you can listen to the Reds. But our listeners always turn out for this. And it was held in the mall for years. Last year, it was moved to the Coliseum and Convention Center, just up on the second level. And this is a chance to meet some young stars. You can also meet Andrew Abbott, who was a rookie pitcher for the Reds last year, had a great year until he just kind of tailed off at the end, just because it got tired. But he's a bright young star for the Reds. You have three players that are prospects that are really good. Cam Collier, who is a third baseman, Reese Hines, who is an outfielder, and Sal Stewart also. And so those guys will be here. And also Sam Grossman, who is an assistant general manager with the Reds. So what they'll do, they'll be kind of interview to the crowd, and then they'll sit down and sign autographs. And so fans go through, and the Reds are very accommodating. And what we have been able to do over the years is we kind of get in the autograph line, so to speak, at the end of the line. So when the autographs start, then we kind of shuttle these guys in, and we interview them on the air as they're signing autographs. So we don't want to disrupt that, because that's one of the reasons why they're there. So we'll be able to talk to them tomorrow night. And so we go on the air at 6. They get there at 5:30, so it takes a little while to get their interviews and do. So by 6 o'clock, they'll probably be close to start to sign autographs, and that's when we can start interviewing.
And this is, I went to this event years ago, long before I ever worked here. I went as a Reds fan over to the town center when it was over there. And last year was my first year. Coop and I did the live broadcast last year, and that was the first time I've had an opportunity, to be there on that end of it. And I love it because, again, it's an opportunity, free of charge. Just come out and get your stuff signed and talk to these people. And I'm looking forward to Benzinger being there too.
Yeah, I forgot about Todd Benzinger. Yeah, former first baseman, 1990 World Series. Caught the final out of the 1990 World Series. Todd Benzinger did against the A's as the Reds won the World Series and swept the A's in 4 games. So, it'd be kind of neat. Yeah, it's always neat to talk to these guys. Over the years, we've talked to, guys that were just up and coming in the state, like Tucker Barnhart, who became a Reds All-Star, Reds Gold Glove catcher. Senzel, who's now no longer with the Reds, but he was here.
Came to one.
Cozart
came down to Logan when we did it down there a couple of years ago.
Cozart was here. All those young guys coming up through the system. So it's really cool. And we'll be on the air beginning at 6 o'clock tomorrow night.
All right, we'll talk to you about it a little bit more tomorrow. I appreciate it, Jeff. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Again, Jeff Jenkins from the newsroom. And again, Hoppy's going to be at the Capitol Complex in the AARP broadcast location starting at 10:06 this morning. Again, the Reds Caravan tomorrow starts at 5:30. We'll go live from there at 6. Free, great opportunity to hang out with future Red stars. The execs, Todd Benzinger is going to be there. Of course, we are your home of the Reds and have been forever. Almost. Let me see. Text. All right, my text isn't loading for some reason here. Okay, text says, of course, there were mostly people against the bill. Those of us who support it are all at work, says a texter. Text says, Steele is lying, guaranteed. Have him swear under oath that people are taking advantage of the exemptions and provide specific examples. He's just like every alt-right loon. Lies and fear are their drug of choice. Steele needs an intervention, according to a texter. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by East Coast Tees and the Vinyl Frontier. If you're a political candidate for the best in political science, big and small, get with the Vinyl Frontier and East Coast Tees. Make a statement for your campaign with the Vinyl Frontier and East Coast Tees. Go to eastcoasttees.com and see what they can do for you. All right. I appreciate all my guests for being here on the show today. Don Miller from Read Aloud West Virginia, Wheeling Mayor Glenn Elliott, who is also a candidate for U.S. Senate, Morgan Switzer, candidate for prosecutor in Kanawha County, and Jeff Jenkins, the Reds Caravan. Again tomorrow, Reds Caravan, Coliseum Convention Center. We'll talk about a little bit more on the show tomorrow. Also on the show tomorrow, candidate for Kanawha County Commission, Dwayne Duncan, is going to be stopping by. Putnam County Judge candidate John Hoover is on the show tomorrow. Candidate for Secretary of State Brian Wood, and more on the Reds Caravan. All right. Got all that, Ryan? Good. All right. That's why I write it down. All right, Hoppy's coming up from the Capitol at 10:06. Follow the news of the day, WVMetroNews.com and WCHSNetwork.com. For my producer, Ryan Nicholson, thank you so much. I will see you tomorrow. Till then, have fun and love somebody.
.580 WCHS AM, 96.5 FM Charleston, 104.5 Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here too.